Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, June 3rd. History was made yesterday as the Port of Corpus Christi celebrated the completion of the $625 million ship channel improvement project, more than 30 years in the making. KEDT's Emily Salazar has more.
Federal, state, and local leaders gathered at the Port of Corpus Christi Monday morning to celebrate what Port CEO Kent Britton called the second biggest event for the port next to its opening in 1926. The Ship Channel Improvement Project deepened the channel from 47 feet to 54 feet and widened it from 400 to 530 feet to allow for transportation of larger vessels and improve efficiency. Britton explains how this benefits the port's operations.
This opens us up for our existing customers to save between $150 and $200 million a year in transportation costs. It provides a safer channel by creating barge shelves, but then this also opens us up for who knows what, right? And so that's what we'll be looking for is what's the next commodity we move out of here? What's the next type of ship that we receive in here? Opens up just a world of possibilities.
Although celebrating reaching the finish line, Chief External Affairs Officer Omar Garcia acknowledged the decades of work it took to make the project possible.
The planning process, all of the permits, the authorizations that had to go through Congress started in 1990. To put that in perspective, it went through several presidents, including President Bush, 41, Bill Clinton, Bush, 43, President Obama, President Biden, President Trump, twice. So that's how long this project has taken. But with a project of this magnitude, sometimes it takes a little time to get it done.
Garcia added that the channel improvements may attract a container line that could bring additional revenue and additional jobs to the Port of Corpus Christi and the region. The Port of Corpus Christi is the nation's largest energy export gateway and the third largest crude oil exporter in the world. For KEDT News, I'm Emily Salazar.
A 12-member committee has been established to lead a national search for the inaugural president of Texas A&M University, Victoria. The search advisory committee is responsible for presenting at least 3 candidates to the chancellor and the Board of Regents. Regent Randy Brooks will chair the committee. The formation of the committee follows the signing of Senate Bill 2361 by Governor Abbott last week, which officially transferred the University of Houston Victoria to the Texas A&M system. Texas A&M Victoria will become the 12th university in the system, with the transition expected to be finalized by September 1st. Congressman Michael Cloud stopped in Corpus Christi on Tuesday, speaking to the Corpus Christi United Chamber of Commerce on several issues, while protesters were calling for him to talk to them. Lon Gonzalez has the story.
District 27 Congressman Michael Cloud spoke to the United Corpus Christi Chamber of Commerce Tuesday with updates on various initiatives coming out of Washington, but also focused on work in the area, including the Port of Corpus Christi's long-range goal of becoming a deep water port. Cloud also touched on probably one of the more controversial matters coming out of the Capitol, which is the new budget bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which Cloud mentioned was part of a reconciliation through legislation.
Now, anytime, of course, you're in an environment, you're finding ways to save money for the American people, there's going to be, obviously, politicized talking points, those things going on. You'll hear a lot about Social Security, for example. The rules of reconciliation, we can't touch Social Security anyway, and that wasn't even a goal ever. So you can just throw away all those talking points, regardless of some signs you may have seen on the way.
But while talking about those particular concerns, several protesters were present outside the event with the hopes of talking to the congressman about issues affecting them.
He has never been here to a town hall meeting. We've invited him for weeks. I called every Monday morning to both his office in Victoria and his office here and D.C. He has no intentions of visiting with us, but he'll visit with the Chamber of Commerce where you have to buy a ticket to talk to him. That's not representation.
While several town halls have been held without Cloud's presence recently, the congressman outlined that he has met with community members and added he is committed to engaging with constituents. I'm Lon Gonzalez for KEDT News.
Those who receive a ticket in Brownsville now have a new way to pay them off. When a driver gets a citation, an officer will hand them a card with a QR code to pay online. A link to exchange messages with the Brownsville Municipal Court will also be provided. Those who don't know how to access QR codes can still pay in person. For questions, you can reach out to the Municipal Court at 956-548-7181 or call the Brownsville Police Department at 956-548-7000. Bloomington is now on the map as an incorporated city in Victoria County. Yesterday morning, county commissioners certified the results of last month's elections. Precinct 1 Commissioner Danny Garcia said Bloomington's newly elected leaders now have less than 3 weeks to get bonded, sworn in, and hold their first official meeting. KEDT is starting a new series called Civic Threads, which examines city government and protocol in Texas. One prominent civic thread follows city charters. City charters are prevalent city governance throughout the state. For details and analysis, KEDT's Joe Smikle speaks with Dr. Paul Gaudemoller, political science professor at Del Mar College.
Today's Civic Thread leads us to city charters. City charters don't dominate most civics classes or government endeavors. However, city charters are a part of most city governments here in Texas and approved by the state. Dr. Paul Gaudemoller, political science professor at Del Mar College, explains what a city charter is.
Quite simply, the city charter, easiest way to think about it is like a city constitution. It's a contract. It's a contract between the city government and the people of Corpus Christi in this case. And it lays out the system of government we're going to have. For example, we're going to have in the city of Corpus Christi a council-manager form of government where we have an elected city council, and that elected city council hires a full-time city manager, and that city manager will operate as the chief executive of this city, and they will be in charge of overseeing city services as well as contracts and preparing budgets and all of that kind of stuff. It lays out what would be the qualifications, what kind of representation system we have in the city, such as do we have a single-member districts? Do we have at-large districts? Here in Corpus Christi, we've got a combination of both at-large and single-member districts. And it also lays out the terms for office as well. Those are all kind of the basic functions, as well as different taxing powers it would have, the different powers it has when it comes to annexation, different powers when it comes to decorum for the meetings, as well as different things that we have that referred to as direct democracy features. For example, in the Corpus Christi City Charter, it has initiative procedures, referendum procedures, as well as recall procedures for elected officials.
When looking to make a change in your community, a city charter should get your attention and how to get things done.
We should care about the city charter because, let's face it, we've all sat around and talked to each other about things we don't like about Corpus Christi, such as the roads or the stray dogs. The city charter deals with all these issues and empowers the city to deal with the issues that impact us on a daily basis. Everything from our roads to the quality of a beachfront to how you run your business and your business is regulated. These are all very important issues that we spend a lot of our time, at least on, if you're on social media, probably complaining about it. So I think understanding the charter and understanding not just the charter, but the government that this charter gives us and what policies come from it is important for everybody in the city of Corpus Christi and even in your own community for those listening outside of Corpus Christi. Understanding city charters is crucial to understanding how we make our communities better.
This is Joe Smikle, KEDT News.
The 2025 legislative session in Texas gavelled out yesterday, but just because state lawmakers are heading home, that doesn't mean the work is over. Now it's Governor Greg Abbott's turn. The next step for passed bills is for the governor to take action on them. The Texas Newsroom's Blaze Gainey explains what actions he can take and the deadlines he'll have to meet.
Here's Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows closing out the session Monday afternoon with a final strike of a gavel.
The House stands adjourned, sine die, pending the receipt of messages, signing of bills and resolutions, and completion of administrative tasks.
And now the clock starts ticking for Abbott. Over the next few weeks, the governor will be reviewing hundreds of bills the legislature passed. He has until June 22nd to take action. His options: sign a bill, veto a bill, or allow it to take effect without his signature. This session, lawmakers sent over 1,200 bills to his desk, and so far, Abbott signed around 360. Last session, in 2023, Abbott signed 1,124 bills and vetoed 76. I'm Blaze Gainey in Austin.
Texas judges will get a raise for the first time in over a decade with a bill passed in the last hours of this year's legislative session. KERA's Toluwani Osabamowo reports the measure nearly died after a dispute between the House and Senate over how the bill affects their own pay.
Base pay for Texas judges now increases 25%. That salary hadn't adjusted for inflation since 2013. Here's Plano Representative Jeff Leach.
I believe the result in front of you now for your consideration is a landmark, historic legislative package that delivers long overdue, well-deserved pay raises for Texas judges.
State lawmakers who serve long enough get an annual pension that's based on judges' salaries. House members changed the judicial pay bill to avoid legislators' pensions also increasing, and the Senate disapproved. In a compromise, lawmakers' pensions will increase now, but the Texas Ethics Commission can review those pensions starting in 2030. I'm Toluwani Osabamowo in Dallas.
And in sports, the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is hosting football camps this month. The first camps began today in Edinburgh at the Vaquero Performance Center practice fields. Those will be for middle school students, and it will run through Thursday morning. Next week, a similar camp will be available for youth athletes in grades 2nd through 5th. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.